Hello there, and welcome back to the Wheel of Time, Season 3. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. So, I watched all 3 episodes on Thursday. So, what I did today was a rewatch of episode 1. I've seen all 3. Let me just say before we start, happy to see y'all again, you know what I mean? Hear y'all again, read your comments again if you choose. It's up to you. Hello to new people. Just happy to be back. Let's go. And back we are. Wheel of Time Season 3. Episode 1, the cold open. Crazy, dude. So we start in the White Tower. It's raining, you know what I mean? We're not in the White Tower, but we're in Tarvalon. And then basically in the White Tower. It's raining. Swan is looking out into the rain dramatically. And then next thing you know, you see Moraine with her hood looking up at the tower. And then we're like, okay, bet, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Because you know how I felt last season. We don't have to go over that again. But you know how I felt. We're gonna move on. But they're looking in each other's general direction, likely thinking different things. Lan says, he's like, she'll be all right. We don't know who he's talking about at this point, but I just assumed because I was in the mindset, leave me alone, okay? And then Moraine is like, today isn't about her. They walk off, and then there's quick cuts, and let me just say, basically Swan has called a meeting for an unknown reason. We don't know yet, but as people are gathering to this meeting in the throne room, they said Mother closed it to all outsiders. She has a plan for the Reds. Only 11 sitters can be in there, and no other Reds can enter. So Sis got beef with the Reds, low key. So the Reds try to actually come in, and there's this new Red. Her name is Sutama. She's the sitter of the Red Aja right now. She's pretty cool, I guess. We don't have too much of a read on her. But she tries to get in, and basically they're like, nah, Leandrin is the one that can come in. And the rest of them have to, just wait behind the door. Which, I wonder about that because, you guys treat them like that. Of course they're gonna be divided and whatnot, but whatever. Anyway, Leandrin is also like, well, I have some things I want to say to her, too, so let's go. But knowing what we know about Leandrin, I was like, you ain't really got nothing to stand on, sis. You almost got freaking Moraine freaking assassinated by her nephew. I'm not gonna forget. I did not forget. But anyway, she walks in there. She starts talking first. And then Swan's like, oh, she comes, watcher of the something, keeper of the, you know what I mean, Not the watcher of the seals, though. I think they took that out. And rightfully so, because all them seals under her watch, barking at somebody's coastline right now. Anyway, Leandrin goes first, and she accuses Swan of breaking her tower custom and law, basically stating that she met up with Moraine, who she banished from the tower, and a man who could channel. And that man ended up being Randall Thor, who declared himself dragon. And you remember. I don't remember. You remember. There's so many names. And declared himself the dragon. And then people start to kind of gossip and stuff like, oh, what? That's crazy. Oh, she knew. And then Swan was like, okay, bet. No, because I know something that everybody else doesn't know. I know that you can lie. You can break your oaths because you've sworn your oaths to the Dark One. You, Leandrin, are a dark friend. And everyone's like, oh, what? The bigger beef wins out. And then she's like, what? Now she'll try to do anything since I won't, basically bend to her and stuff like that. I'm not trying to win her over. So she's lying on me, you know what I'm saying? So it's her word versus her word. And she's like, do you have any proof? You don't even have any proof. And she kind of nods at Leanne, and Leanne's is like, we call Nynaeve Almira, the chick you tried to abduct and sell to the Shanshan to the stage. Nynaeve busts out. So I guess that's who, in retrospect, who Moraine was talking about. She'll be alright. It's not about her. Maybe she was like, oh, it's about her instead. I don't know, whatever. But Nynaeve comes out. As soon as Leandrin sees her, she's kind of like, well, I tried. And all chaos breaks through. Oh my gosh. I saw a little bit in a little preview, which I tried to avoid all spoilers. Again, please no spoilers in the comments. Book readers, you with me. You know what I'm saying? We did this last year. Let's do this again. Don't spoil nothing. Just go with me. I saw in the preview that she had some blood on her face and that she was going ham and the thing. So that's basically what happened. She was like, well, I tried. And then Swan says, like, she starts to channel, and then Swan's like, you dare, use the magic against your sisters in this great hall? Leander and I bind you to the, you know what I mean? So she's starting to do the whole stilling thing. She raises her in the air. She's using, like, she hops off that throne chair. I'm like, this is what I wanted to see. Yes! This is what I wanted to see all last season. We're seeing it in the first, like, 5 freaking seconds of the first episode, so I get what she was saying. But we're seeing her channel. She pops up off the throne. She kind of, like, she thrusts her hand toward Leander, and she's, like, basically binding her right now. And then Leandra's kind of just, she's taking it for a second. And then she's like, sisters with me now. And I was like, oh, shoot, wait, what does that mean? And then one by one, we see chicks pop up out of the sitter chairs, out of the 11 sitters that were allowed in the room. I didn't count personally, but it's just what was said. Dude, we see one yellow pop up, one blue, one white, one brown. They pop up out of the middle chair and just start blasting their sisters and killing them and stuff like that. They're just warring and fighting. And then this is such a surprise that, like, Alana, who's in there, I'm like, oh crap, Alana. But she's on the right side of Swan at the time. So she starts blasting the betrayers, basically. They start rallying around Leandrin, who's mid-air, legit still getting choked out. Like, Swan is putting in work. She's making her cough up blood right about now. And then Leanne is just beating sis. Like, she's beating, like, she's doing a little bit. No offense, I don't know everybody's name. Bald head chick, she basically picks up, like, some stones from the tower floor, and they're all fighting everything. So she whams it against Swan. Swan's like, ah! So basically she got hit by, like, a freaking cinder block. So she breaks the thing for a second. Leandrin's able to get free a little bit. They kind of rally around her, and then Alana and Leanne are like, mother! So they all go over to her, and then they're able to link. She's like, link with me, ladies. And I was like, oh, shoot, here we go. And they go, boom, energy blast. I might have skipped something, but basically, like, they were putting in work. It's a battle right outside the door. Remember, they closed the door on the Red Sisters? They're trying to, like, get in and stuff like that. The warders are trying to get in. Alana's warders are trying to get in. Maxim and what's his name? Yvonne. They're both trying to, like, bang at the door. Alana, like, come in, let me in. Like, they hear all the fighting and the craziness going on. They don't see anything. There's other people outside the hall too that they're not as adamant about getting in, but they're worried. And then the Red Aja, they come behind and they're like, move out the way. And they're like, what? So you can go in there and do bad stuff? And I was like, use your head. Do you think they're gonna go in there and do bad stuff? They may and they might, but you'll be in too, and you can help Alana. I don't know. I was like, use your head, bro. Let them let you in. But anyway, it doesn't work, and they're like, what? So we can, throw hands. And then some chick, I didn't get her name either. Some chick pops up, looking straight out of the Havana video. You know what I'm saying? They're like, help us get in the door. And then she's like, no. And then they're like, oh, shoot, she's a bad chick, too. She's a green chick. So she's a green chick. I called her in my notes. I said, green outside, crazy chick. So that's who she is. Because guess what? Things start to go down. She starts to kind of fight after she says, no, she's not going to let them in. The warders attack. And they end up, fighting it out. And then she attacks the Red Aja. And then the Reds fight back. And then they kill both of her warders at once. And that's supposed to hurt. It hurts everybody's feelings and stuff. And it's like, oh, it was like deeper than hurting your feelings. They literally like sever the bond forcefully. And Sis is like, we killed both of your warders. And then she's like, yes, you did. It feels amazing. I was like, she's crazy. I was like, what do we got going on here? Back into the room. We see Leandra and just a Joker blood face on it. I was like, it was so cool. First off, too, and I'm sorry I skipped this, but her outfit was crazy. Like, bro, her outfit, she had that little thing. And it's like, I love how it's like every outfit's almost like a blend of different outfits at once. It's just so cool. It's so much cooler than just gowns, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's not the point. The point is she's looking like, yeah. She's looking like, and they're trying to sonic boom their way out of there. So everybody's like, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies, just dead sisters, just carnage and everything. They do a final energy blast and they're like, let's get to the docks. So they get out, the door blasts down, and then we kind of see like a cut. Like, so they're trying to get out. They're like, they must not leave the city. And so Swan and them, all the rest of the goodies, they kind of leave the tower. And then you see Moraine again, like she looks at the tower like when the sonic boom happens, and she's like, oh shoot, but she don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? A lot is telepathic with them in this season, which I don't mind because like it leaves a lot of room for fan fiction, but it's like I would like to kind of know what, like, I would like to be in on the ball and tell me what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But something's happening, so they're trying to get back to the dock so they can escape. And they're like, oh, they must not leave the city, so they go into foot pursuit. Nobody's in too much of a rush. Meanwhile, we go to Varen, who is there, but she's not in the throne room. Like, she wasn't helping Swan and them, like, fight and everything. She was just, like, walking very speedily with two of her, like, homies, basically. One of her homies was Adelaus, her sister, and her other homie is Naomi, the chick who was happy to see her when she came back. I'm keeping my voice regular because you and I know what happened. But okay, so they get to this room and they're like, we're gonna help the Amerlin by keeping these items safe. There's the strongest Sangreal and Tongreal that we have in the secret room. So she opens the secret room. She looks at all this stuff a little bit, and she's like, finally, as soon. I'm jumping the gun, but as soon as she says finally, I was like, bet, take her out. And then I'm like, bro, it's her. She's a dark friend, bro. Take her out, take her out, take her out. She just looks at her. She's like, wait, what? She was like, I don't have to listen to you jabbering on anymore, Varen. And then she does a quick little energy tornadoes go into their brains, and it wipes out Adelaus's mind. Like, sis has amnesia now. And for some reason, like, it gets Varen and Adelaus at the same time. Varen goes over to Adelaus, I guess after she wakes up, because sis just, Naomi, she takes all the little items she can handle. Like, she puts it all in a bag and dips. Like, so she's dipping with the evil chicks to the dock. When Varen wakes up again or whatever, she's, like, cradling her sister. She's like, bro, you good? And her sister's like, who are you? And then I'm just wondering, like, how is Varen not affected? Is she that, like, ancient and cool that, like, she it takes a little bit more for her? Or, I don't know, something's off about her, legit. Focusing on this one, we go back to foot pursuit. We're outside now. We're in the city. I don't know where everybody is, because usually there's vendors and everything, but I guess they heard the sonic boom and was like, look, okay. Foot pursuit, Alana pops up out of the corner. And then we see Liandrin and her whole gang, her whole girl gang, like, in the back. We got Crazy Chick, we got Bald Chick, we got Naomi, Thief Chick, I guess we could say. We got the green and the blue and all that. The chicks that popped off with her when she was in the throne room and didn't die. The ones that didn't die. One got wrecked by Leanne, but anyway. So Liandrin stops and they have like a throwdown, basically. Alana's warders, Yvonne and Maxim, they'd come out of like the cuts and then they'd start running at her. She does this like earthbender thing where she goes and then the road just like dominoes upward and almost gets them. And I think the point was like they're so battle trained. Like, she's green, bro. She about it. Green. So great. The other green, she's not as great, but Alana is great. So she comes up and she's doing all kind of stuff. Her warders are taking them out like by hand, like taking out full sisters by hand. They're not even getting a chance to channel. Like, they're not even touching the power. It seems like they're getting sliced up and they're hitting like legs and knees. And next thing you know, we see them hit like Leandrin's like calves in the back, I think. And then they're around her all of a sudden, and then they slice her a little bit more, and she's by herself. They slice off two sisters. They're dead. Next thing you know, we see like Alana like back there. Her warders go behind Liandrin and say, shh, 2 swords to the back of the chest, execution style. It slow motions. There was a couple of the evil chicks still alive, and they stopped them because the 2 warders, Ivan and Maxim, they were about to behead sis. Just phew. They were super thorough and fast, and I think maybe that's a way to beat the Aes Sedai. Like, you just have to be faster than them, and it worked. So anyway, stabbed her twice through the chest at the same time, like penetrated, and then took it out and was about to behead her sword for sword. They stopped it. For some reason, they were able to kind of back them up, and Liandrin was able to get healed. I was like, dang it! It's like when you're playing that level in a game where it's like you're playing against the boss, but the boss heals really quickly. You're like, bro, I am taking damage. trying to take this dude out. Anyway, the point is, Leandrin gets healed by a couple of the other chicks because they're like, whoa, shoot, she's the leader, bro. We need to heal her. So they are able to hold them off while she heals. She gets all the way back up, bro, and gets back to fighting. I said, goodness gracious, this healing must be some next level adrenaline, really super powerful, basically, like an evac or something on Call of Duty. Like, I just get right back up, respawn. She gets back to fighting. Alana does this thing where she turns her hand into a sword hand. I was like, I love the action. This is what I guess this is what I was waiting on, you know what I mean? And I loved all the other seasons, but this one I was like back to back. It was just stuff I've never seen. Like, I was like, what the heck? Or I've never seen, at least with this show, you know, I've seen stuff here and there, earthbending, things like that. Anyway, the point is, she is fighting her. She's trying to get this sword to her face, but they're able to hold her off. And then they do a couple sonic booms or something like that. I don't remember the specifics, but they end up getting her off of him, or off of Leandrin. And then they do a little shoomp, and then they're like, we gotta go, we gotta go. So they start to retreat. And then Leandrin turns back around, and I'm like, oh, shoot. So you just have a feeling. You're like, oh, well, she's bent out of shape about Alana. So she's gonna try to get her. I kind of called it, though. And then both of the warders were like, Alana. So they ran over in slow motion. I was like, what's going to happen? One of them out of here. Basically, yeah. So Maxim, the one with the blonde hair, runs over to Alana to shield her. Yvonne kind of runs over to the steps to turn around and see what they're about to face. And then he is facing a sword to the chest. And it's that slow motion. And then the first thing Alana said, she said, Maxim. And then that's when I realized, like, okay, I got the names right. Because, no, she says his name first because he's there. And then he looks over and she's like, no, no, no. You know, the movie thing. But, like, yeah, Yvonne is dead, bro. He's out of here. There go the three people together situation. And they're just going through it together. And then we do cut. But you get the vibes. You get the vibes. It's similar to when that one dude died. Or sorry, well, that one dude's girl died, and then he was out of here. So they're out of here right now. Cut. We get to Swan. She's still doing foot pursuit, and she's like, Alana, she signaled from where they are. They're over there by the whatchamacallit, maybe close to the docks. So she's still on foot pursuit trying to get her. There's two evil chicks behind her. Bald chick and hysterically crying chick in the next episode. I don't know her name. And they're like, to the two escorts that Swan had behind her. I was like, dang, you really got no chance. Like, they could just take you out like it's nothing. They pulled a land fear on him, just little shimmy of the wrist. And then they shielded Swan immediately. They're like, you belong to Leandrin now. And then Swan is like under the shield. She's kind of trying to break free. And then we see her kind of wiggling and stuff. And I was like, oh, snap. And she's like, bro, she's about to break through. We have to finish her now. Forget Leandrin. She's breaking through the shield, dude. She's too strong. And I'm like, let's go then. Let's go. You see her wiggling, look like me in the morning when I'm not trying to go to work. She's like, just pushing at the shield. And she's like, forget it. We need to finish this. So the girl calls up, basically earthbending style, to the bell at the top of the tower, and then it starts to crumble and break, and then the other chick is still shielding her and try to hold her, so she's still trying to break through. And then the bell is crumbling, it's coming, it's falling down, it's about to crush her. I said, oh snap, no! And it freezes midair, and they're like, how did she do that? She couldn't have done that. She's still shielded. And then while they're talking, Swan said, move this little shield. She says, and she comes through with some random weaves. I don't know. It's not the knives that she had last season, but I don't miss them knives. Them knives were ill-equipped. She threw some yellow weaves at them, and they, like, fell out. Like, electricity kind of zapped at their chests, and they both fell out. I thought she killed them. Apparently not. She turned around. She was like, all right, bet. Now who stopped them rocks, or who's right behind me? You know what I mean? You're in battle mode. She looks around, and it's Moraine. She had a deep distance, though. Like, she's like in an alley over there, and she just has like some green and yellow weaves. I was like, since when are they using all kind of different weaves? You know what I mean? She only had white weaves in the first season. In the second season, they introduced these other color weaves, and I was like, okay, bet. Is that what the colors use? Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, she had both weaves, and she was like at a distance, and she was like, they did the little look thing where they communicate without talking, and I was like,
We haven't seen each other in a while, but you will always be my love.
Swan kind of walks forward. The things are still midair, by the way. Swan kind of walks forward, and Maureen does her like eyebrow thing for a second, and then she's like, it looks like she's like asking, and then Maureen is like, nope, and just she turns away and she walks off, and when she walks off, the thing crumbles in the back. So Swan kind of looks behind, and then she looks back, and she's like, yeah, bet, okay, fair. And then so yeah, that's it for that. But Lan goes to Nynaeve, who was still in the tower. Remember, they were like, she lived. So Lan ran up to the tower and it was like, Nynaeve, and she was good. She was okay. She was alive. And break. No, it's fine. It's not the end. But so there was a break because I have ads on my Amazon Prime. I don't know about you. I do. When we come back, it's the crew basically all together. When we find out it's been a month since the events of where were they? Oh, it's gonna bother me. It's Foam. I remembered. So when he declared himself dragon at Foam, or really Moraine declared him dragon at Foam, it's been a month since those events. They traveled back by boat. Now they know that they have extra enemies. So we have the Dark One we always had. Now the Forsaken. At the end of the other season, we found out about that. And now the Black Aja. So any Aes Sedai could basically be a Black Aja now. So they're on high alert. They're like, oh, we have so many enemies. And by we, I mean you, Rand. You. And then Egwene wants everybody to stay together, really. Moraine wants them to go to Tyr. And by them, she means Rand. To go to Tyr and gives a warning about being discreet. And nobody follows that advice at all. She's like, I'm going into the city. Just remember, when you go in the city, there's a rugrat that's going to tell another rugrat, what shoes you stepped in. And then there's like puddles that's going to tell the water flow. And then they're going to tell the innkeeper. The innkeeper's going to tell the nosy Susan. And the nosy Susan's going to tell a Red Aja. Basically, any strange person that they see in the city, Red will know. So cover your hair, cover your weapons, and be discreet. She said, I'm going to the city, and we leave at dawn. And Loyal's like, why must we always leave before breakfast? She never wants to leave. I said, bruh, priorities, bruh. Anyway, so she dips, and immediately after she dips, Matt's like, well, I'm not staying here. I've been cooped up on a boat for a month, and I am going to have a last hurrah. How about you? Rand? Perrin? You with me? Immediately, they're with him. The Aiel chicks, Bane, Chiad, and Avienda, they're following after Rand, but Avienda and Rand have like a I don't know, a disagreement. She don't like him, basically, because she's like, he's a wetlander. He hasn't earned the right to be the Karakan, which is their like religious leader or something like that. The destroyer and maker of their prophecy and stuff like that. Which he is, but he's also the dragon, but it's just different cultures look on it, it seems like. And she's like disappointed because he doesn't know anything about them. He's like, I yield, but only because of the hair and stuff like that. So she's basically still testing out his like personality and all that and his worthiness. So she hasn't told him about anything. He only like knows the name Trial of Rodion. And he's like, you never tell me anything. You always just roll your eyes at me. And she's like, well, because you haven't earned it, I don't know if I could trust you. And if you even deserve to be the Karakan. And he's like, just stop following me. How about that? And then she's like, look. It's our duty to protect. And he's like, we're getting nowhere, basically. And so they kind of have a fight. We kind of realize that, like, the only person she's cool with is Perrin, because remember, she has the toe with Perrin. Apparently that's done. I don't know. And then she's really cool with Elaine. We're going to get to it. You know and I know, but we're going to get to it. I peeped that a long time ago, though. I was like, they mentioning each other quite a bit. I'm like, here we go. But, okay, all right. Anyway, so she dips off. And then she's like, oh, my services aren't needed or whatever. We find that out a little later. So they go to this little, I guess, bar thing. Matt's being a big mouth, having his picture painted with the horn of Valyr. like his issue is he keeps lapsing into old tongue. So they're like toasting and everything, and next thing you know, he's like blah 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 blah, saying some stuff and it's the old tongue. He doesn't even know he's doing it until he lapses back into his normal self or whatever. And everybody's like, I killed the vibe. And then he kind of goes off to be nonchalant again. But we find out a little later in the episode that he has some issues. Rand is still kind of wondering if he should even go to Tyr. He kind of talks about it with Perrin a little bit. Perrin is like, you're a good leader. You're a natural leader. I'm not a leader. And he says it so much that I'm like, is that your arc this season? He's going to be a leader. But he wants to go back home, basically. Rand asks, he's like, wait, he's like, wait, are you leaving? And Perrin never answers, so basically that's a yes. Matt comes back with his lightheartedness, and then he notices the vibe change. So he's like, why are we serious now? And he's like, oh, no reason. Go ahead and roll. We see a chick walking. Well, we don't know it's a chick. We see a robe walking through the crowd. And then the robe takes off eventually. It takes off the hood because Varen is up there with Moiraine and Lan just discussing like how she needs to trust Rand or how like Varen has a great memory for having had a memory attack against her. I'm suspicious. Too many surprises. She ends up talking to Moiraine about like you need to trust Rand, not just the dragon. I know you trust the dragon reborn, but do you trust Rand? There was a girl I basically raised from a child or saw grow from a child who just betrayed me the other day. She's talking about Naomi, the thief, the one that took all this stuff. You need to start trusting him and his decisions and stuff like that. Which I'm on Rand's side. Big surprise. But like I don't even trust his decisions. Like I'm going with it, but I'm also like he don't even know what he's doing. But alright, bet we gotta give him a chance. So he's still learning. He's like up there with Loyal, and then they're talking about prophecies, and then Elaine comes up and she's talking to Rand a little bit. She's like, "Oh, can I talk to him alone for a second?" And they talk about what it is to be a leader, which means to have power means you're always going to be inconvenienced to somebody else, or when you use power, it's always going to hurt somebody else in some other way. And I was like, "Oh, dang, that's true." But she knows what it is, and he's like, "You make it sound so easy," and she's like, "Well." You know what I'm saying? It's not. You have to know who you could trust. And the Dragon Reborn will always have a friend in Andor. And then me. And I was like, bet alliances and friend zoned. No, sorry. No, alliances. It's good, bro, because it's like they have a whole army. Everything's good. As far as that goes, it's good to start with some allies. But yeah, so there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Egwene, Elaine, and Nynaeve, they're talking for a little bit, and then Egwene is like, bro, I got PTSD from Rena. I have nightmares every night, so every time I touch Rand or Rand touches me, it's like Rena is there. And I was like, dang. You're still feeling that pretty deeply. It makes sense, obviously, because she was imprisoned and enslaved and all that and abused. So maybe she's going to get a little darker this season. I did notice she was a little bit, you know what I'm saying, a little bit annoying. I like her. But I was noticing she was making some comments, and I was like, girl, chill. She's going through some stuff. Nynaeve still can't channel, which is why I was surprised she was still alive. I wasn't surprised. But she, at the end of the break, she was like in the rubble upstairs. But she tried to channel and touch the source, but she couldn't. So I was like, so she's feeling a little meh about that. Her and Lan kind of have a talk a little later. And Lan is like, he has his Valkyrie blade that is made out of the one power itself, like the Heronmark blade that killed Shamael that Rand used in Faum. He's hoping that's something that would take down a Forsaken or something like that, but he's really insecure about it. It seems like he's like, I'm no king. I have it because I'm weak and I need it. And that's when he tells her what it is. Lanfear was the one with the cloak on. When Varen was talking to her and stuff like that. I guess Varen dipped. I don't know. She was not in there in the next scene. And then Lanfear, she takes off her hood. And then she looks up at them and kind of smirks at them. And then Moiraine turns around, puts on her hood, I guess, to go meet her. And then she's right there. I said, you can't be doing this. How many powers do you have? It's not fair. But anyway, it was really cool, actually. I was like, oh, snap, she's here. That's so cool. So she's up there. She's like, we need him to go to Tyr. So they're basically working together. Moiraine is like, Rand says that you appeared to him in his dreams. basically urging him to do the same thing that I want him to do, which is to go to Tyr. And they want him to go to Tyr because there's something called a call. I don't know. It's called a call something, and it's on in the Tyr, the stone of the Tyr, and it's a call, and it's a weapon. It's a weapon that hasn't been 3,000 years. Nobody's been able to grab it. And Moraine is in kind of a rush because she's like, or another male Chandler can have it, or the Forsaken can get it. And then he was like, what if they can't get it? And they're just waiting on me to come there, so I grab it. And then it's a trap. They just want me. And then she's like, well, what do you want? What do you want to do? You want to just wait? They're not going to stop coming after you. And he's like, no, you know what I really want to do? And he hit us with the Shire. Homie hit us with the tiny violin. I really want to go home to the Shire, to two Rivers, and then she wasn't feeling that immediately. Maureen was like, "There is no reunion for you. You were the Dragon Reborn. There is no homecoming. That's it." She's sick of it. She's sick of it. She's like, "I'm not doing this with you. You can't go home ever to the Two Rivers. The farmers aren't going to be able to help you in the last battle, basically." Um, and then he's like, "I don't want to go to Tyr," and she's like, "You don't get to do that." And he was like, "You don't get to tell me what to do anymore." I was like, here we go. It felt a little Excalibur-y, the sword and the stone. And then the right one can come along, get it out of the stone, and is the right to rule and all that, and has this powerful weapon. It gave those vibes. I'm not sure if that is if it's a sword. I don't think he needs another sword, but whatever it is, it's over there in Tyr to it. Sorry, I'm jumping all over, but Lanfear wants them to go to Tyr so he can get that. And then they kind of leave that conversation as it is, basically stating that they're in and on the same side and willing to work together to get him to do that. But she needs his friends, which she feels is holding him back, to beat it, go away, so that he can face his destiny and become the man that he's supposed to be, the dragon he's supposed to be, and embrace the darkness and something like that. I was like, here she go. But leave the boy, which is what Moraine wants to. So they kind of leave that there. Nynaeve, we see Nynaeve in a room, and it's the little inn they're staying in before, they're supposed to dip in the morning. Everybody's there, the chicks are there, the Aiel chicks, and Avienda, and Elaine, and just everybody. Egwene, just everybody's there. And they start drinking a little bit, doing some nighttime drinking. Elaine is making a last little crop. She did try to convince Avienda that, Rand, he'll start to, grow accustomed to your customs and start treating y'all right and stuff like that. He just has to learn. He's not used to having power. And Avienda has a soft spot for Elaine, so she's kind of like, alright, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So Elaine makes a batch of, apple liquor. She be making the liquor, So they're drinking it up. Matt, Perrin, and stuff, they've been drinking all night. She's like, this is my last night of freedom. I go back to scrubbing floors tomorrow, basically. So she's going to go back to the White Tower. I skipped. I'm sorry. Swan earlier that day when they were having the little girl talk, about, sad stuff. But Egwene was opening up about her PTSD and stuff like that. Swan did show up a little bit after that and was like, basically, hey, we need you to come back to the White Tower. And Egwene was like, I'll only go back if I could go through the arches. And I skipped that. Egwene, I'm kind of upset because they skipped it too. They showed us one scene. Egwene, she goes to the arches. She goes through one and we only see her on horseback as the Amyrlin. Elaine's on her left side and Nynaeve's on her right side. Nynaeve says that Rand, who's standing in a river for some reason with long crazy hair, says that he snapped and killed Perrin and killed Matt. And that's her, witness account. And then Elaine's like, steady yourself. Basically, he's like, bow to me. And we see her kind of run out of there with blood all over her clothes and stuff like that. But that's the only thing we see. And then we see her get a ring with no stone in it. So she's an accepted now. So she can wear the little sleeves. But she leaves the tower immediately. She's like, bro, I swore an oath to the light and not to you. The tower's going through all kind of mess. I'm outie. I'm an accepted now, so I can go in and out. So basically, she only did it to get the ring so that she can still go in and out of, Tarvalon. I mean, I'm sure Swan didn't like that, but, she's not exactly wrong. You don't have a handle over the tower right now, and she's not going to leave Rand behind. So she goes back to the inn, she kind of deals with her stuff with Rand a little bit. She's like, I want to try to like not freak out when you touch me. So they kiss a little bit. Then we see them like sleeping. I don't think they did anything, but yeah, because the next thing you know, she's waking up into a nightmare, and the nightmare is like Rand on top of her, starting to choke her, and she's like, Rand, it's me. What are you doing? And then next thing you know, Rand wakes up and punches the Rand on top of her. It's gonna get very confusing in a second. This is Hecka Rands keep popping out of mirrors and trying to get Egwene, but they keep pretending to be Rand. So everybody's Rand in the room except for her. She starts to try to channel, but she's like, she can't like hurt one of them. She don't know which is which. So they keep coming out of the mirrors and attacking, and the next thing you know, we flash down to Matt, and we find out like he's been hiding a lot more than just being cocky about the horn, like, and slipping into Old Tongue. He's hearing screams. Whenever it's quiet, he hears screams and sorrow and torture and stuff like that. Just screams of battle, and he can't really take it. He has these cards with him. He puts the cards down on the table, and he's like, Nynaeve, will you help me, basically? Because he's like, I'm your wisdom. And then Nynaeve's like, I don't know how to help you, but I'll try. And he's like, thank you. Next thing you know, he's looking at the cards start moving. He's like, are you seeing this? And then he's in a trance, like stuck in a trance, looking at these cards. And there's this dude there, like an assassin dude, that shows up, and he starts yabbing on, like, I don't even know yabbing is a word, but he's yabbing on Nynaeve, just stabbing her. She's like, Matt, help, help. Like, she's running out of the way. You know, she's just getting stabbed up. He's standing there looking at the cards. The guilt I would feel, bro. Anyway, she's running around. She's like, trying not to get stabbed. Next thing you know, you see a wiggling axe in some wood, and Perrin and Loial are sleeping. Perrin wakes up because he has a flashback or something. And then next thing you know, the axe comes out of the wood and whoosh, right by his head. So he moves. He's like moving around, but the axe is enchanted. It's like going around invisibly. It stabs into his chest, and he's like, ah! And Loial kind of takes it out. He's like, ah! And then he's trying to gain control of it. Loial is the builder. And then the door opens. The two Aiel chicks, Bane and Chayed, come in, and then the axe goes in the middle of them, almost getting them too. Then it comes back and flies back and hits Perrin in the hand and breaks his ring in half. And he's like, ah! So the Aiel chicks run over and they use all their strength, and they're pulling the axe free from his hand. It's just a mess, and people get jacked up. Nynaeve's getting stabbed out. Upstairs, Egwene is fighting for her life against the many, many Rands that keep coming out. She does get grabbed and stabbed. Well, she's like, ah! Meanwhile, we keep flashing back to, this is the same moment. We're not flashing back in time. We're in a different room, just right next to the room. All this screaming and thuds happening. Moraine and Lan are just up listening and looking around and probably communicating with each other in the bond. But we don't hear anything. But I'm like, are you going to do something? And that's why I was like, okay, if they're calm, I'm calm. Kind of trying to feel the vibe. I was like, okay, maybe this is all a dream. I didn't know anything else at that time. I was like, maybe this isn't real, because otherwise they would be helping. Next thing you know, things are escalating. People almost out of here. Egwene is like, it's the mirrors, because she does a little bit of one power toward the mirror and it breaks it, and then he disappears. She's like, it's the mirrors, Rand. So he goes, and he starts using the one power, and it's dark and red. So it's black and red mixed around, a lot of black, and he's just like, he's loving it. He's looking like, oh, this is great. Looking like he's going crazy. And I'm like, bruh, rein it in, bruh. Rein it in. She's like, stop it. You got to come out of it. Come out of it, Rand. And then so he finally does. But we go back downstairs. Matt's still in a trance looking at the cards. Nynaeve is stabbed out. She yells. She's finally like, Lan! And then Lan, he stops kind of waiting on Moraine, and he goes and gets that Valkyrie blade and then busts through the door and runs downstairs. And the next thing you know, you see this guy, he's about to stab her again. She's on the ground. She's stabbed out a whole lot. And then he gets stabbed through the chest with the blade. And then he dies. And then as soon as he stabs the dude who was trying to kill Nynaeve, the gray-looking dude, Matt snaps out of his, Nynaeve! And she's almost dead. Moraine came down with Lan, so she immediately starts healing, almost like she's rolling her eyes and healing. I was like, what is the vibe right now? People are this was for real. So I assume she healed everyone. The next morning, they're walking with purpose. Lan is pissed. He was shaking mad in the corners and in the alleys, and they meet up with Lanfear. And she's like, how did I do? She's like, you went a bit far, didn't you? And Lanfear's like, no, you said you wanted it to look real. And I said, you weren't supposed to hurt anyone. She's like, I didn't. I didn't even touch Nynaeve. Like, he said, Nynaeve almost died. He's like, I didn't touch her. I just used the axe, the cards, and the blah, blah, blah. Who was the assassin then? She was stabbed 11 times. There was an assassin. And she's like, wait, what? Who? A gray man with blackened fingertips. And then she gets super sobered up all of a sudden. She's like, a gray man. There's only one of the Forsaken that can make them get Rand out of the city now. And then she turns around and dips. And they're like, oh, shoot, it wasn't her. Because Lan was about to fillet her for a second. And head back to the thing. Now the crew realizes that they can't really stay together. They have a discussion. They're like, they're going to keep coming after me. Egwene decides to stay with Rand. So Egwene, Rand, Avienda, Moraine, and Lan go off together. Nynaeve, Elaine, and Mat, they stay to train up at the tower because Nynaeve was like, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help you. I couldn't help myself. If I'm going to be any help with any of you guys later, I need to be able to fight. And I was like, bet, sis, that's what I've been saying. That's what I'm talking about. So she stays with Elaine. She's going back to the tower. And Mat stays too because Nynaeve said she would help. And then he's like, if there's anybody who can help me, they're probably here, in the tower. And Perrin, he wants to go back home, actually. So he's going to take the little picture of Mat back with the horn to his little sisters and his mom and stuff with Loyal and two of the IL girls, because during the axe attack, I believe he saves Bane. One of them. He saves one of them, and now they have Tope. So they're coming with him. So they're going to go through the ways with Loyal. In the final hour, Rand decides, I'm not going to Tyr. And then Lan is pissed all of a sudden. He's like, they're not going to stop coming after you. You know that, right? He's like, yes, I know. I'm going to go to the one place they're never going to look for me. And the one place where I can get an army. I'm going to the Aiel Waste. We see some softly in the shadows chick. You remember I was talking about her? Apparently her name is not Mageddon. I'm very disappointed. That was close though. Sorry, not Leandrin. I heard Lanfear say it like Moghedien or Mageddon. I don't know how to say it. Y'all will tell me. But Moghedien. For now, I'm going to say Moghedien, maybe. But we see her kind of messing with some sand. We hear this dude in the background. She's in the dark. She's very short. She's kind of tripping. She turns around and then she's like, you know what happens when you break the oath? She's like, I did what our master told me. He is in a web. I kept waiting to see something. She's a spider, bro. She's a spider. A sociopathic spider. He's wrapped up. I don't want to say it, but a little bit crucifixion style. A little bit. His limbs are spread. And she's kind of like, she's turning around and she's like, you know what happens when you break your dark oaths? You lose your soul, a true death. And I was like, well, shoot, you could get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? That's not that bad. Then she starts freezing his blood. And he's like, no. She's like, or you can be something else. Something not light or dark. Something gray. And I'm sure homie knows what that is. His name is Jayachim. She's like, do you want to be gray, Jayachim? And he's like, no, and stop freezing my blood. No, ow. And then she's like, do you want to be gray, Jayachim? He's like, no, I don't want to be gray. I do not. The one thing I don't want, you know what I'm saying, is to be gray. So he's very clear about it. And then she starts freezing his blood even more. He's screaming his brains out, bruh. It just hurts. I just know that he's going to say yes next. And she said, I'm going to ask you one last time. Jayachin, do you want to be gray? And he's like, yes, just stop. Please, just stop. And then so she starts putting weaves into him, like stabbing into him. And then I don't know if his soul left or something. I don't know. It was a really cool effect. But he just was gone. Like some stuff came out of him in the back, some white stuff, puffs of smoke. And then it went out the thing, and then he kind of collapsed, like his head. And then she's like, Jaya Chim Ding. It was like a little bell went off. And she's like, you're mine now. And he's like a zombie dude. So now we know she's the one making the gray people. And she says, I have someone I want you to find. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. If you made it to this part of the predictions, I might need a remix. So thank you and listen up. And here we go. Dun. Alright, cool. I don't really have any predictions. Like I told you, I did see episode 2 and 3, so that's coming shortly after. I don't know when. I just gotta get some time. But I'm super excited. I want to get back to doing this every Thursday. I guess as far as instead of predictions for this one, I could just say this for standout parts to me. Definitely the first few minutes of the episode when we were getting battles, we were getting new weaves, we were getting a coup, I love a cold open coup. They did that in the 100. I'm not gonna tell you because you might, want to see the 100 one day, and you're like, nah, she told me already. Okay, I didn't, but I do love to see. Like, I like to find out, and I like the powers. Leandrin, like I'm stuck on that for some reason. That blood smile that she had, super sharp blood smile. Her almost getting out of here, but also being like just dangerous. You know what I mean? But still somehow managing to be a sympathetic character, and I'm like, why do I still like her? But I do. I don't know. Maybe because she's the one that really made me want to start watching the show. So I don't know, bruh. But no, it was great, and I love to see Swan do more powers. Of course, I love the like she broke out of the shield. If you could think about that, like two people were shielding her, and she just wiggled out of it. Like there, she was gonna get out of it. And I was like, okay, that's a testament to her power too. I just love to see how powerful she is and how intense she is when she's really about to throw down. Because she was diplomatic a lot in this episode, asking things of people, reminding people, being gentle with people, being small. And she was also ferocious and violent and aggressive and just witty and like just skillful, all those things like when she needed to be. So she's a lot of different things. She gave a lot of personality in the next couple of episodes, but I'll save that. So we're just getting to know Mother more. So I think that's really cool. My second favorite, besides the battle in the tower, is Moraine saving her because, bro, the way we left things, and I know it's been a month, I didn't know that until later. So I was like, it was nice. It's like seeing Batman save Rachel Dawes, or seeing Superman save Lois for the thousandth time. It was dope. I was like, because they're both capable and things like that. But when those rocks stopped, I was like, please, please. And then you turn around, it's Iron Man. It's Moraine. Let's go. She's not just about to let you get crushed up, but she also not about to talk to you, apparently. There was a scene when she came in and Swan was talking to Egwene, but she didn't hear her, so she was like, she's always kind of around. And they stay looking at the tower, or they stay looking down. Like, they need to talk, bro. They need to talk, but I guess they haven't. But she did say she kind of regrets some of her decisions regarding what she did to Rand, but she didn't say Rand. So I was like, okay. It's what they don't say, remember? But anyway, that's my second favorite scene. My third favorite scene, I love the coup stuff so much. It's like taking up so much of my brain. But I guess the third would be probably Lanfear. And it's weird because I don't have favorite bad guys, I guess, except for Leandra and whatever. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, my feelings are all over the place. But I like seeing her be helpful because she's so difficult, bro. She's like, is she a good guy or not? Like, she's teaming up with them right now. They're like, she's gonna betray. Like, she betrayed them, she'll betray us. And Moraine was like, but not today, maybe tomorrow. So it's like one of those keep your enemies close kind of things. But I like that she's cooperating a little bit, at least for the sake of Rand or herself. We'll find that out later, I'm sure. But I think that was my third favorite scene, like just seeing her pop up and seeing her kind of after the fact acknowledge that she was the one causing the dreams and stuff like that for everybody to get messed up. I was like, oh, that was a cool kind of twist. I was wondering why they weren't helping. So I think that was my third. What were your three favorite standout parts in episode 1? Go ahead, type it in the comments. Let me know something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm missing something. What did you think about the outfits this season so far? Like, did you have a favorite outfit? I gotta go with Leandrin, bro. I gotta go with Leandrin's outfit. It was going crazy a little bit. Who's your favorite new character? Like, in episode 1, though, we're gonna keep it limited. I know we get new people in 2 and 3, but in episode 1, when we saw the coup people, like, were you surprised? Did you know that they were bad guys? If you're book readers, maybe avoid that question. Maybe just tell me who you're excited to see. next or something. What do you feel about the weapons that they stole out of the Shalongriel and Tanongriel? You know what I'm saying? Big words. Just, yeah, what are you the most excited to see this season? But be very vague if you already know what happens. If you don't know what happens, what are you worried about seeing? What do you hope to see? Just let me know in the comments and I'll go ahead and cut and edit this and let's get it up. And I will get to episode 2 and 3 when I can. Likely before next Thursday because I'd like to do this Thursday thing like clockwork. Let's do it together. I'm happy to be back. Wheel of Time season 3. Let's go.